kindergarten, it's Mrs. Cummins. Happy Tuesday. We are going to start a new week this week. This is actually our 5th week of online learning, so give yourself a pat on the back. You guys are doing pretty good, and we're getting closer to the end of the school year, which is so wonderful, and then we can enjoy our nice summer. So we are going to start our day off by singing our welcome song. So are you ready? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? How are you today? I'm fine, I hope you are too. I'm fine, I hope you are too. I'm fine, I hope you are too. I hope you are fine today. Turn to your neighbor and shake their hand. Turn to your neighbor and shake their hand. Turn to your neighbor and shake their hand. Shake their hand today. Good job, kindergarten. All right, let's move on to our memory work. Are we ready? John 14, verse 6. Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Good, kindergarten. All right, we are going to move on to our Bible story, and we're going to talk about David again, but we're going to talk about his really good friend named Jonathan. So in your package, you would have got a nice coloring paper that looks like this. And this is David and Jonathan. So if you would like to color it while I am telling the story, you may go ahead, okay? So let's start our story. So all the Israelites loved David because he was such a brave soldier. King Saul had loved him too at first. But when he saw that the people loved David better than they did, he began to hate David. Several times he tried to kill him. Remember, he tried to kill him with a spear, right? Then David had to run away and hide. King Saul had a son whose name was Jonathan. Now, Jonathan was a great prince and a very brave soldier. He wore a fine coat and a beautiful belt. He had a big sword and a bow with many arrows. Jonathan loved David right from the start. He loved him because he was brave and he trusted in God. But David was not a prince. He was only a shepherd boy. He had no fine clothes. Prince Jonathan loved David so much that he gave him his fine coat and belt. He gave him his sword and his bow and arrows too. David and Jonathan loved each other like brothers, and I'm sure a lot of you have brothers or sisters that you love very much. So David loved Jonathan, and Jonathan loved David, just like a brother. They promised to be faithful friends as long as they lived. When Jonathan saw that his father was no longer loved David, he warned David of his father's hatred. He pleaded with King Saul for David's life. Let not my father sin against David, he said. He has not done you any harm. He has been good to you. He even risked his own life to save you and your people from that wicked giant. Which giant are they talking about? Remember, David fought a giant? Goliath. Goliath was the giant. Then why should you want to kill him? King Saul listened to his son Jonathan. He promised that he would not hurt David. So Jonathan brought David back to the palace, and all went well for a time. But soon King Saul was jealous of David again. Once more he tried to kill him, and once more David fled for his life. He went to live with Samuel in Ramah. King Saul tried several times to capture David while he was with Samuel, but Saul did not succeed. And finally, one day David came back to see Jonathan. He asked, "What have I done to make your father want to kill me?" "You will not die," Jonathan answered. "I'll go to my father and find out why he is so angry with you. He tells me everything, so why shouldn't he tell me this?" But David answered, "Your father knows that you love me. He wouldn't tell you if he was going to kill me, lest he make you sad. But truly, Jonathan, there is only a step between me and death." "Tell me what I can do then," Jonathan said. "I'll do anything that you wish." "Tomorrow is the time of a new moon," David said. "Your father will be expecting me to eat at his table. I'll stay away. If your father asks about me, you tell him I asked you to let me go to my father's family in Bethlehem. Our family has a sacrifice there every year at this time. If your father is angry because I am not at his table, then I will know that it is not safe for me to come back to the palace." Then David and Jonathan went out in the fields together. They planned a way for Jonathan to tell David how the king felt. "You hide in the field," Jonathan said. "In 3 days I will come into the field with a little boy. I will shoot arrows from my bow. Then I will send the boy to get them. If I say, 'Look, the arrows are on the side of you, go get them,' then you will know that my father is no longer sorry. But if I say, 'Look, the arrows are beyond you,' then do not come. For then you will know that my father is angry, and that the Lord wants you to go away." So David hid in the fields, and Jonathan went to the palace. King Saul was extremely angry when he saw David's empty palace at the dinner table. When Jonathan delivered David's message, Saul became more angry. He shouted at Jonathan, "Why are you friends with David? Don't you know that you can never be king as long as David is alive? Go find him at once, for he will surely die." Jonathan pleaded for his friend, but his father would not listen. He became so angry that he tried to kill his own son. He threw his spear at Jonathan. The next morning, Jonathan went to the field with the little boy. He shot his arrows far beyond the boy. "Run, get the arrows," he said. "See, they are far beyond you." As the boy went after the arrows, Jonathan called, "Hurry as fast as you can." And when the boy came back with arrows, he sent him into the city with the bows and the arrows. Then David came out of his hiding place. He talked with Jonathan for a little while. They talked about the promise they had made. They had promised in the name of the Lord that they would always be good to each other and their children. "We shall always remember our promise," Jonathan said. Then they said goodbye to each other, and Jonathan went home, and David went to hide in a cave. Jonathan always loved David as his best friend. What did they promise to each other? They promised that they would always be good to each other, right? And we'd be good to their children. So if David has children and if Jonathan has children, then they would be good to each other's children as well. Yes. So Saul, it seems, still hates David. He still wants to kill him, right? So now David has to run and flee, and now he is hiding in a cave. So that is our story for today. Finish your coloring page and then send it with your package because I can't wait to see your beautiful coloring. Okay? Bye, kindergarten.